The world is but a dream, yet the dreamer takes the tiger in the dream to be real. Don, my friend, why does the mind weave such a convincing veil? Why must the infinite hide behind the mask of the finite?
Bhagavan, the mathematics of evolution gives us a startling answer. We ran computer simulations using evolutionary game theory to see if our senses evolved to show us the truth of objective reality. The results were mathematically conclusive. Organisms that saw the truth went extinct every single time. They were simply overwhelmed by the complexity of the data.
Then the senses do not reveal the self, they hide it? Just as a cloud hides the sun, not by destroying its light, but by limiting the view to protect the eye?
Exactly. Evolution gave us a user interface, a headset, to hide the truth so we could survive the local environment. Space-time is not the container of reality, it is our desktop. Matter is just an icon. We've mistaken the folder on the screen for the silicon inside the computer. We call it physics, but it's actually just the internal rules of our dashboard.
So, Maya is not a mistake of the creator, but a mercy for the ego. To see the infinite without a filter would be to lose the localized form entirely. The veil is the very thing that allows the play to continue.
Precisely. The veil is a biological necessity. But if we are the user and not the icon, what happens when we look behind the screen? What is the CPU made of?
We find that the screen, the icons, and the viewer are all made of the same light. The observer is the observed. If the mind is the architect, then the brain must be its workshop. But science often mistakes the hammer for the builder. Don, how do we explain the biological constraint of this interface?
Bhagavan, we found that the human brain isn't a camera, it's a graphics processing unit or a GPU. Its job isn't to show us the world as it is, but to render a simplified 3D dashboard. The visual cortex acts like a high-end graphics card, compressing an infinite stream of information into manageable icons like space and time.
So, the brain does not produce consciousness. It merely filters the light to create a shadow we can recognize.
Precisely. The neural correlates are just the internal wiring of the VR headset. When we see neurons firing, we aren't seeing the cause of awareness, we are seeing the interface processing data.
Don, if space, time, and matter are but icons on a screen, what remains when the screen is turned off? What is the substance of the computer itself?
Mathematical logic suggests that behind the icons is a vast, infinite social network of what I call conscious agents. Reality is not made of atoms. It is made of interacting observers. When one agent perceives another through a limited interface, we call that perception matter.
This is the ancient truth of the self, the many whirlpools in the one ocean. Each agent is but a localized expression of the same underlying mind.
Exactly. Bhagavan, the source code of reality isn't physics, it's conscious interaction. We've been studying the pixels and calling it science. But the real action is happening in the network behind the glass. So the question for the user is, now that you know the rules, how do you play the game? If you are the observer and not the icon, you are no longer a victim of the biological hardware.
Don, to play the game truly, one must stop looking for the self in the reflection. One must re-index their awareness. Ask, who am I? Not, who is this icon? But, who is the one observing the screen?
Bhagavan, this is the ultimate developer mode. Once you realize your brain is a filter, you can learn to bypass it. You stop being a user and start realizing you are the system architecture itself.
The veil of Maya is lifted, not by destroying the world, but by recognizing its source. The ancient wisdom and science meet at the center. The truth is not out there. It is the one that perceives.